Hi, I'm Heather Cole, president of Lodestar Solutions, and today we're going to talk about the power of coaching. Many of you grew up as athletes and had coaches that taught you how to swim or to run or to play golf. But as we look at our professional careers, why don't we have coaches today? So today I'm going to introduce you to coaching, what it is, and how it can be applied in your career. I'm also going to share with you why I think each and every one of you is also and should be a coach to those you work with. Coaching allows us to take our game to the next level. So our agenda today will include talking about what is coaching. We're also going to clearly distinguish the difference between consulting and coaching. We'll talk about who benefits and needs it and what you can do to set yourself up to reap the benefits of coaching. We'll look at the traits that people have to make them more coachable and therefore more successful. We'll help you find your own coach and how to interview those people. We'll also discuss how you can encourage your organization to fund a coach for you to help you get to that next level. And I believe that each one of us should be coaches for those around us. So we'll talk about the art of coaching for managers. And did you know even your executives could use a little coaching? So if you're a business analytics professional and you're trying to get your executive team to really understand the value of BI and business analytics, you can start coaching them because they probably don't know the ins and outs and how to align your team and make them successful. And then finally, we'll conclude with giving you some good resources that you might want to check out to help you become a successful coach. So the first thing is, what the heck is coaching? Well, some of you may think of coaching and think, oh, Tony Robbins or Dale Carnegie. And these are all great examples of coaches. A coach is someone who partners with their clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potentials. Coaches honor a creed that represents that the client is the expert in his or her life. And they work and believe that every client is creative and resourceful, but sometimes they need a little guidance to leverage that resourcefulness. And so they're really there to try and empower you and to help you make those right decisions and to help you refine your game. I love the quote from Don Shula. I think what coaching is all about is taking the players and analyzing their ability, put them in a position where they can excel within a framework of a winning team. So you, as business analytics professionals, can start to create your team and environment so that you can help coach each and every one of you on your team. This will allow everyone to excel and take your business analytics deployment to the next level. Coach's responsibility. So when you hire a coach or when you have a coach internally, sometimes you hire them from the outside, sometimes you find someone internally that will be your coach. But what they need to do is they need to discover, clarify, and align with what the client wants to achieve. So if your goal is to become the spokesperson in your organization for business analytics, then you need coaching in that regard. And that coaching may come in the form of coaching on how to give a great presentation. So many of us are in business analytics, we have to demonstrate our solutions, but we were never coached on giving those presentations. A coach is responsible for encouraging the client to look within themselves to do some self-discovery. They are to elicit the client to generate solutions and strategies. So they're going to challenge you, they're going to ask you probing questions and help you think up the answers. And most of all, they're going to hold the client responsible and accountable. I've personally had some experience with coaches. I have a couple of coaches. I have a media coach, I have a business coach. And what I found when I first started engaging these people was that when I made a commitment to them to have something done, I worked really hard to do it. When the commitment was just to myself and said, oh, I'm going to do this, I found it stayed on my to-do list forever, but there was something about that promise to someone else and knowing that they were going to call me out and hold me accountable for my behavior and my execution that really allowed me to focus. I got more done in a week than I had gotten done in months. So I really believe in this. This process helps clients dramatically improve their outlook on work and life while improving their leadership skills and unlocking their potential. Again, just really helping you guys take your skill set to the next level. I can tell you my experience in business analytics is a lot of places that people need coaching is not so much on the technology. They typically can be good on the technology, but it's on the soft skills, on the interaction with people or dealing with difficult personalities. Or presenting the model and the concept so that you can get marketing to embrace business analytics, for example. So let's talk about consulting versus coaching. And you love this picture. I'm from Chicago, so I have to have the coach. And Mike Ditka was just a classic coach, which everyone loves. And one of the reasons why we love him is his candor, right? He did not mince words. And so that is definitely an important part of coaching. So consultants, when you look at a consultant, they provide expertise in a subject area. They might come and teach you Cognos. They might come and work and build your data warehouse, right? They typically diagnose problems, or maybe you've already diagnosed it and they come to fix the problem, right? They prescribe and sometimes implement the solution. So they can be the worker bees. They could either say, hey, this is what's wrong, you guys fix it. Or they actually get into the weeds and they actually fix the problem for you. So that's typically the role of a consultant. Coaches, on the other hand, assume individuals or teams are capable of generating their own solutions. So they say, hey, you have talented team members. My job is to coach you on how to leverage these solutions to maximize the profitability of your organization. And what coaches do is they supply supportive and discovery-based approaches. So they ask a lot of questions. They may or may not give you the answers. They may give you guidance so that you find the answers, but they may not always have the exact answers because your organization is unique. There can't be a cookie-cutter approach to business analytics. Yes, there's a framework we can live by, but there's not one absolute answer as to this is how you have to do it. Coaches may also provide consulting, so they might provide that expertise, but even if they're teaching you or coaching you, let's say on TM1 or Cognos BI, they're focusing on educating you and asking you those problem questions so you learn how to think. This is very important as it empowers you. At Lodestar Solutions, our view is that clients should become self-sufficient so that they can really leverage business analytics within their organization. It's not very scalable if you have to constantly call consultants to do the work because it's going to cost a lot of money. I love this quote by Viktor Frankl. He wrote a book about man's search for meaning, and he's a Holocaust survivor, and he's also a psychologist, I believe it was, and he writes it from a doctor's perspective and actually using the Holocaust in the concentration camp as his experience. But I love this quote, we are no longer to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And anytime you run into a frustrating situation at work and you're challenged with how are you going to overcome it, that might be a great opportunity for a coach. Or if something urgent or compelling and exciting is at stake, maybe you get promoted, or maybe you suddenly are responsible for business analytics in your organization. That would be an opportunity to say, hey, I now have new responsibilities. I need new skills. If there's a gap between your existing knowledge, skills, and or confidence. So if for some reason, let's say you've given a number of software presentations, but you just don't feel like you're rock star quality, maybe you need coaching on giving a presentation. Maybe you're championing business analytics in your company and you're trying to coach executives on the power of analytics, but you're really challenged with how to penetrate that space and how to educate them without them, feeling like you're trying to tell them what to do, right? There's a very fine line there. Maybe you just have a desire to accelerate your results. You want to make it faster. You want to be more successful in a shorter period of time. Anytime you lack clarity and focus, and this is one of the reasons why I have coaches, is because I tend to have a little ADD going on and I want to do a million things at once. So I ask people around me to help me keep me in check and be my coaches in that area. Or if you just find that success is become problematic, you're challenged, you want to take it to the next level and you're just stuck. You're like, I don't know why I'm not getting promoted and everyone around me is getting promoted. Or I want to go for a CIO. What skills do I need and why are they not making me the CIO when the last CIO left? Or maybe you just are challenged with a work-life balance. And a coach can help guide you and make you realize where you should focus your time. And again, these are all custom solutions for you as the individual. And then finally, core strengths need to be identified along with how best to leverage them. So sometimes we don't even know our core strengths. I've had people work for me in the past that I could tell what they were doing was not their passion. And when I brought up to them that they maybe belonged in a different place, suddenly a light bulb went on and they suddenly felt this passion and energized and really life-changing for them. So how do you reap the benefits of coaching? The coaching should be able to help you climb the corporate ladder, reach your goals, and to do that, the first step that you need to do is write down what you want to accomplish. I'm surprised how many people don't even know what they want to accomplish. And this may be personal. This may be, I want to get the marketing department to embrace analytics. Would you benefit from a new perspective? Is somebody giving you an outsider's view in and saying, you know, I'm really struggling with it. Can that new advice, new view give me insight? Would you benefit from someone to hold you accountable? This is what I definitely do. I think most people will. If you have someone that says, you specified that you would have this delivered by this date. Are you willing to devote the time and energy to making the real changes? And this is a big one. Only you can make the changes in your life. So if you want a coach, you got to be 100% in. I'm not talking 70% or 80%, but 100% in. If you're not willing to do the time and the work, you probably should just live with status quo. I find that if you write down what it would mean for you to accomplish your goal, how it would make you feel, how it would make your family feel, what would be the results? Would you get promoted? If you get promoted, would you get more money? If you got more money, what would you do with it? Who would you help? What would you buy? Where would you go? And literally write that down. By writing it down, it almost like puts it in our DNA. So we write down that, you know, we want to be the leading educators of business analytics. I would be totally jazzed about helping each and every one of you accomplish your goals by us educating you. So that is a feeling, an emotion that just would be very satisfying. And so I would write that down. What we do when we add the emotion and how we feel to it, again, it kind of gets it into our physiology, in our body chemistry, and we start to feel it and we're one step closer towards accomplishing that goal. So the next question is, are you coachable? Do you have a desire or a purpose? So do you want to get promoted? Do you want to deploy analytics throughout your organization? What is that thing that's motivating you and why are you doing it? The next big one is, are you willing to be accountable? This is not something you do lightheartedly. This takes massive action. This means absolute commitment that you're going to make this happen in a certain time period. Are you willing to take action? So this massive action is the first step. If you don't make the massive action and you don't take the steps, then we're going to hold you accountable, right? Humility. I like this one because it really looks at it from a standpoint of we clearly aren't meeting the goals that we want to achieve. And so we have to accept that fact, and sometimes it's humbling to know that we've been wrong all this time, or even worse yet, that if we made a slight modification in our behavior, we could have had these results a long time ago. And that can really be humbling. I think it's kind of like a golf swing. For those of you that play golf, if you change your position of your club, maybe even 1 or 2 degrees, the results of where that ball goes is significant. It's a slight degree right off the club head, but the results as far as where it goes on the green can be a huge difference. So it's kind of like that. One slight degree in our behavior can result in massive difference in outcome. Candor. So candor goes both ways. Your coach must be absolutely honest and direct with you, but you have to be honest with yourself and with the coach. Without candor, you're going to be elusive. You're not going to accomplish what you really want to do because you'll be deceiving yourself. Candor can also be challenging. Are you willing to surrender control? And what this means is I need to have faith. I need to believe that I can give this up. I can do something a completely different way, and it may be very uncomfortable for me, but I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work, I got one step closer to learning how to do it better. And the coach, you're really surrendering control to the coach and their ideas. Have faith. So when we do that surrendering of control, we got to know that its purpose is to get us where we want to go. And that takes a little faith sometimes. So I love this quote too. I'm used to being coached. Something I learned a long time ago is that a coach is trying to make you better and to be the best version of yourself. The coach should have no ulterior motives. Their motivation is your success, period. So how do you find the right coach? First, you want to find a coach and interview the coach to determine if there's good chemistry. This is a challenging process. You need to trust the people you're working with. You need to believe in their credentials, their experience. A coach could be someone sitting right next to you. They could be somebody in your office, in your department. They could be somebody in another department. Or you can hire an outside coach that's what they do for a living. They are a professional coach. You have to look at, do you think the coach will inspire you and hold you accountable? If they don't inspire you and make you really energized to accomplish something new, they're probably not the right coach for you. Do you respect their skills and business experience? You'll want to discuss your goals with the coach and see if there's a good fit there and get some of their preliminary ideas. You always need to establish guidelines, and your coach should lead this. When you meet with your coach, no cell phones, guys. This is 100% focus, presence. That's what you're there for. You don't want to waste your coach's time. You want to be able to respect them, and they'll respect you. You want to make certain that you have a communication stream. So you have set times that you connect, that you do checkpoints to see how you're accomplishing your goals. And you have question and answer sessions, right, for brainstorming and so forth. Remember that coaching is a partnership. You're in this together. Their motivation, your success. Your motivation, your success. Look at that, common goal. So how do you get funding for coaching? You can go to your organization and see if you can get funding, but in order to do that, you got to plead your case. And I love this quote. I think that when you create your proposal to get funding for this, you should incorporate this quote into the proposal. It's, scared if you train your people, they will leave. What if you don't and they stay? I love using this quote anytime people are refusing to invest in their people and do training, because it just spells it out, don't you think? So in order to do this, your first step is to create a plan with clear objectives. So it should go something like this. I am seeking to get funding for a coach that will help me become a change agent in business analytics and improve my communication skills with the business, my ability to present and encourage them to use our tools, and to leverage data in ways we never dreamt of. So something along that lines of clearly defining what you're trying to go. And if you're in business analytics and you need help becoming a change agent, that's a great way to go with this. You need to define success by becoming coached and improving my skills. My goal is to encourage 3 more departments to leverage analytics and big data, to make better decisions and list them out. I want to encourage marketing and HR and finance, for example. The next step is to monetize success to create the cost justification. You're not going to get funding unless you can prove how this ultimately makes or saves the company money. And it might be a couple steps away. So it could go something like this. By encouraging the marketing department to leverage predictive analytics, we will be able to increase our ability to market towards our ideal client base by X%, and therefore 5 new clients at an average of $200,000 a year, and you do the math, right? Now we're at $1 million in increased revenue. So you start to see how it's not going to be directly related, but it should show your impact. The next thing is that you're going to create your plan and cost justification into a proposal. And present this. Again, how you present it, either whether it's a formal process to get funding or whether you're just going to talk to your boss. Be prepared, practice this, and encourage them to invest in you. Consider approaching HR. A lot of times your company might have funding that is in a training bucket that HR can leverage. So I always think that as a team in business analytics, as a team member, you are a coach for someone around you. So I want to share with you some tips for being a good coach to others. So coaching isn't just a one-way street. A lot of times in our companies, we want to create a collaborative process where we coach each other. So when you are the coach or the manager, all managers should be coaches, realize it is not about you. Your goal as a coach is your coachee's success, not your success. You don't need the limelight. If they are successful, you are successful. So, get rid of the ego and focus on the coachee. Active listening is required for good coaches. And active listening is not just putting down your cell phone, but asking those probing questions and really be attentive and start to use your intuition, start to use your business knowledge and coach and mentor that person. When you use active listening, it can really kind of startle people at first. A great example of this is one of our team members was out. He's single. He was out on a date with a girl and he was talking to her and really active listening. And at one point in the evening, she starts to cry. And he's like, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "You're such a good listener." And at that point, he probably got a little wigged out. But he comes back in the office the following Monday, tells us the story. Of course, we laugh hysterically and tell him to run because she's probably got him married with 6 kids. But the concept here is that she was taken so off guard that it put her to tears because she was active listening. Now, active listening is not natural to most people. We're thinking about what we're going to say next. And you really need to practice this. And it comes with just putting that cell phone down. Go home tonight. Put the cell phone down when you're talking to your spouse or your significant other. Be 100% in the conversation and watch what happens. At first, you're going to startle them. But they'll really appreciate you being engaged. Believe your team members are smart, resourceful, and can solve problems. You didn't hire people, or you don't have people on your team that are stupid. You hire smart people, empower them to make those decisions. So kind of coach them and ask them. Don't always give them the answer. You want to ask them what they think the answer is and why they think that's the answer. And have you thought about this ramification? So starting to guide them through that thought process. As a manager, you want to create a no-blame environment. This is really essential. Somebody is going to screw up. It may even be you. When we screw up, what we want to do is we want to come together as a team to solve it without pointing blame. And so we use those lessons as lessons learned. Let's solve it and let's figure out how to keep this from happening again. So you really want to foster that no-blame environment. By doing that, you'll also encourage and you need to show respect for candor. And that's really important because being really honest and candid about things allows people to take that next step in improving their skills. If we don't tell somebody, let's say someone gives a software demonstration, and you've seen this all the time, and you are bored out of your socks. Well, taking that person aside afterwards and say, before you do your next presentation, I think there's some things that you could learn. I'd love to sit down with you and share with you my thoughts. Or have you seen TED Talks? Maybe get them to go watch some TED Talks. And if so, look at how they present. There's some great books out there on how to give a TED Talk. Maybe you even give them that book and say, I found this beneficial. There's a book out there called Demonstrate to Win. It's about software demonstrations. Maybe you encourage them to go read that book. But being candid that, hey, that didn't really show the product or show your solution, all your hard work in the best light. And doing it with total respect. You're not doing it out of malice. You're doing it to help them. Embrace feedback. So be receptive of candid feedback. Appreciate it for what it's worth. Even if someone gives you feedback in kind of a curt or harsh method, appreciate it and don't get angry about it. Don't respond in a negative way, but stop and think, okay, does this really help me? Is this true? And how can I improve on those skills? So Coach Wooden is one of the most famous basketball coaches ever. And he says, a coach is someone who can give correction without causing resentment. That is your goal as a manager and a coach, to make your team really successful by coaching them and giving them that correction. So believe it or not, even executives need coaching, especially in technology. So many of you are part of the business analytics world in your organization. And I see this trend where clients get to almost like a glass ceiling, where BI gets to a point, maybe they start to dabble in predictive, but it doesn't really go full enterprise, and it doesn't get that momentum that they need to get it to the full enterprise. So I believe that one of the challenges is that executives don't really get what you're doing. They don't really truly understand business analytics and the benefits to the organization of business analytics. So first, you have to help them to understand the benefits of technology. They understand it on the surface, but really showing that ROI or cost justification, business value, whatever you want to call it, towards technology and how it can improve your organization and make it more profitable. Always think in terms of making or saving the company money to get funding. Executives also need coaching on how to be committed as an organization to business analytics. Business analytics takes a commitment from the absolute top of your organization so that everyone supplies the information and is actively involved, eliminating those silos. They also need to be able to align the various areas of the business. So if you find for some reason marketing isn't adopting to this new technology, or the data they give you is not good, and at the end of the day, we all know that the business owns the data, IT protects the data, so that data is so important. If they're not helping you, that has to come from the executive level. They need to learn to be leaders in business analytics, and you can start by helping them and coaching them and giving them knowledge in small doses. Maybe a little lunch and learn would help. They need to understand the importance of master data management and data governance. This is absolutely key. This is the foundation of your success in business analytics. So this is a true story. It happened a number of years ago with a client. They're still a client today. The CFO went to a Cognos event and saw dashboards and scorecards and almost jumped out of his seat. Heather, I want that. So I said, well, we can work on that. I later on met with his CIO and I said, hey, Mike wants these dashboards. He loves this solution. I showed it to him. Will you support this initiative? At which point the CIO said, absolutely not. Needless to say, I almost fell out of my chair going, what? I'm giving you a shiny new toy and you don't want to play with it? And he said, the problem is our data is not such that we could leverage those tools. We would be unsuccessful. So I said to him, have you asked for funding for a data warehouse and this initiative? And he says, yes, for 5 years I've been asking for funding. And every time Mike, the CFO, says no. I said, well, if I could help you with that, would you support this initiative? He said, absolutely, I'd love to. So I get the two of them in a room, I sit them down, and I had coached the CIO to have the numbers of how long it would take, what resources he would need, and the benefits of a data warehouse. I then showed the demonstration of Cognos, and the CFO was like, that's exactly what I want. And I turned to the CIO and I said, what are your thoughts on this? And he, after being coached, said, we would be unsuccessful because the data underneath it would be wrong. That's why we need a data warehouse. And he proceeded to explain it in terms the CFO would understand and how it impacted him, the CFO. At that point, within probably 30 minutes, the CFO says, funded, done. How much does it cost? Let's get this done and let's get this rolling. So what took the CIO 5 years to try and accomplish, I was able to do in a very short period of time because I got them speaking the same language and I coached them on how to communicate. So take that as a lesson learned. Hopefully you can apply it in your organization. And of course, coaching to executives on setting realistic expectations is crucial. Many of you have suffered from sales reps going in, showing all the cool functionality of business analytics and what they can do for it, and executives think that can happen overnight. They need to be coached on setting real expectations, and then it takes a lot of time. The data has to be proper and set, and set it up for small wins and incremental wins and more of an agile approach. So our motto at Lodestar is business analytics involves people, processes, and tools in that order. Empower your people. Through coaching, you can help empower your people in your organization. So Lodestar Solution does provide coaches. When we coach, we train you to be self-reliant. We coach in communication and soft skills. We coach in executive business analytics coaching, so one-on-one with executives, helping them to roadmap. We can coach you on how to do a software demonstration, and these are valuable skills that we teach to all IT and business analytics professionals. We can even coach you on how to create end user videos so you're much more scalable in training your end users and not have to sit down with each one and train them individually. And we love to coach you in building momentum in your business analytics arena. And that involves teaching you how to host lunch and learns, what kind of content should go in those lunch and learns so that you can educate your organization. And most of these programs are software agnostic. So they can teach them about analytics as a whole, how to leverage data, and the software tools are somewhat incidental. So I promised you that I'd give you some resources. These are some of my favorite books. There's Coactive Coaching, Changing and Transforming Lives. This is a book that teaches the principles of coaching. I'll warn you, if you get this on Audible book, the author is a little dry, so you kind of got to get through the first 3 chapters, then it starts getting better. There's a great book. Some of you know Jack Canfield through the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. He has a book called Coaching for Breakthrough Success, Proven Techniques, and Making Impossible Dreams Possible. There's a book called What Everybody is Saying. I love this book. It's by a former FBI agent, Joe Navarro, and he teaches you how to read nonverbal communication. Did you know 2/3 of all communication is nonverbal? So you really want to be able to read that, especially when you're doing coaching. And of course, my favorite author, I cannot leave him out, Simon Sinek, and his 2 books, Start With Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action, and his latest book, Leaders Eat Last, Why Some Teams Pull Together and Others Don't. I believe for your role as a business analytics professional, these should be required reading. If you don't have time to read, which a lot of us don't, there's Audible. So Amazon.com has an Audible website. They're owned by the same people. And you can actually become a member of Audible. So I think it runs about $12 a month. And you can buy credits. And that gives you also discounts on Audible books. So the way you can improve your skills and the way you can improve yourself is by reading, digesting this information, and then applying it in your own life. So hopefully I was able to add some value to you about coaching. I am a business analytics coach. I also love to give presentations, so if you have an event with one of your organizations coming up, let me know. I can be reached at hcole@lodestarsolutions.com, and I am on Twitter at Heather Eyes, or you can follow our corporate Twitter, which is at Lodestar_SOL. We are really glad you were able to join us, and we will be putting this on YouTube, or you may be watching it on YouTube now. So thanks, and have a great day.